2 minutes. Okay. One, two, three. Okay. Yes. Vishwa, Dhanu, Rini, can you turn on your video feeds? Yeah. So in the last one, we had actually seen that you can perform actions without hate and desire. If you're able to do any action without hate and desire, then you can do unimaginably well. This was like, if you want, I'll just tell you the 3 points. You can then cover the session on the YouTube. So one is, if you do any act without hate or desire, then you can do unimaginably well in any field, whatever field you are in. Number two is, do not do anything just to show others. Do it as you like to do it for yourself. So not doing anything to show. And third is, be sincere, remain quiet, do your work as best as you can. This is all that is wanted from a champion. I'll just elaborate on all 3 points. Number one, we had even discussed about, without desire, can you do any action? Can you? Desire for getting something always, that is driving a person, isn't it? But what happens when that thing that you want does not come to you?
You might lose motivation.
You lose motivation, isn't it? So you are motivated just because I want a medal. I want gold medal. I want first rank. I want something. But if it is your aim to learn, I want to learn. I want to go to the root. I want to understand the fundamentals of science. Then it doesn't matter, isn't it? The outer marks, what you get. So that is something. So desire is all right. But hate, what do you think about hate, Rini?
Like, what if you like hate a person and you just want to be better than them, so you just keep competing and on.
But hatred is like what we saw was, it's like throwing black ink into a paint.
Hmm.
Beautiful painted picture, no? You've drawn like such a nice thing on a canvas. Beautiful scenery, beautiful flowers, everything. And then suddenly throwing black ink onto it. What is that? It spoils everything, isn't it? So whatever you are doing, even if you are doing a good thing, you have a just cause. But the moment you allow hate to enter inside, no, it's going to affect you completely. So you'll have to do without desire, without hate, you'll have to do your action. You'll have to start getting the joy of learning, the joy of doing things right. And when you start getting that, then you'll do unimaginably well. Now, what do you think about this? Is it practical? Is it possible?
I think it is possible.
It is possible, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All champions have continuously persevered, no? Irrespective of what people told, irrespective of, sometimes they didn't have company also, doing it all alone. That's so boring, no? Doing alone. Nobody's there, nobody's praising, nobody's appreciating. But they are not doing it for appreciation. We are doing it because it's the drive. Poets, what do? They write poetry, isn't it? Is their poetry read by everybody?
No.
Even in the exam, we read because it's going to come in the exam, isn't it? Many times, those poems.
Hmm.
So, but, and that's the common complaint of every poet. Nobody's reading my poems. I had joined a meeting of poets. Everybody wanted to read everybody else. Everybody else should read their poem. but nobody was trying to read the other person's poem. Will that work? No. So something like that, you need to not depend, because when you start depending on outer aspects, no, outer praise or some kind of, like in the second point, it is about showing to others. I want to show my friend. I want to show my friend I am like this. If you try to show, what's going to happen? Again, you are not motivated by improving, isn't it? It's basically for showing to somebody. Again, it is a very less small motivation. Many times people, I will show this person. And the person says, oh, okay, I was just joking. What happens then? This person is like, I wanted to prove I'm not like that. Ah, okay, I simply told, I didn't mean it. Your entire drive is gone, isn't it? Instead, you have to do it for yourself, because you are going to develop, you're blossoming into a better personality. This is going to make me better. This is going to teach me more. I'm going to learn to express myself better. These are all factors which should be used, not just for showing somebody something or the other. That was some second point. And the third was be sincere, remain quiet, do your work as best as you can. Means as best as you can. Does not mean you must get perfectly right. Rini, have you tried cycling?
Yes, sir.
Do you cycle?
I do, but not regularly.
Not regularly, but don't need those supporting wheels, isn't it, on the back?
No, I don't.
You're able to go. How? But first time, what happened? Didn't you fall?
Yeah, I did pretty badly.
Pretty badly, isn't it? I think everybody's story is the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do? You try to do better. Chalo, theek, hai, I'll do it next time. I'll do a little better. Little
Yeah,
better. I
that's
remember once,
okay.
yeah, my father would take me out. One day he did not take me. I said, no, I don't need. Even if he has not taken, let me go out. When I was very little. So I went, and my cycle went down slope. I didn't know how to hold on to the brake, and I went straight and crashed onto a pole. Then I was like, okay, now don't tell anybody anything. I was telling myself, thank God I've not got hurt. So I sneaked back home. But I learned something. Yes, it's dangerous also. I could get hurt if I don't know. I have to learn to how to use the brake. So what was it? It was an experiment, isn't it? Maybe a failed experiment, but it taught us something or not. Every experiment teaches us something. Scientists also. There's one researcher of mine, he spent only 3 years doing a particular research. And he had told that this was the outcome I'm looking for. And he did not get that outcome at all. Now, I was feeling bad. I said, hey, you've put 3 years. What happened? He said, no problem. I'm going to write a research paper on why this outcome does not come. So in science, it is learning, isn't it? He said, I learned, I did this experiment. So this, under these conditions, this particular case is not established. This hypothesis is wrong. I have proved that it is wrong. If he was successful, he would have called it, I have proved it, it is right. So maybe little loss. These are all part and parcel. So all you have to do is do your best, be sincere, remain quiet, quiet in the sense, calm on the inside, and do your work as best as you can. Why? That is all that is wanted from a champion. If you do all of this, there's no doubt that you will definitely become a champion. So with this, we are entering into a new chapter. Another interesting. Yes, Rennie wants to ask something.
So they said do as best as you can. Isn't that like just limiting yourself?
No, no, best as you can. Low aim is a crime, isn't it? The best. Now I want to say I cook something. I want to give it to my mom. I want to serve my mother something. What will I do? I'll try to do the best that I can do, isn't it? Now, many times in the factory, when I have to cook for myself, I just make something and it's okay, let me eat. But when I have to give it to my teacher, when I have to give it to my mother or some friend, that time you put in a lot of efforts as best as you can. You have to keep trying that. That is all. It is not limitation. It is not a limitation at all. Because what's your best possible thing? But it gives you a kind of satisfaction of having tried your best, even if something doesn't come out. Many times, what happens? You do your best and it's not enough, no? You do your best, it does not enough, and then you feel sad, you feel I'm hopeless, I cannot do anything. No, it's not like that. Do your best. Try your best. It's all right. Nobody succeeded in the first attempt. Remember how you learned cycling. You fell, and then one day you forgot how to fall. So something like that. So I'll just share the image in the group. This time session is like now in the night time, it is there on the terrace. I'm just sharing the image. Rini, you have that book? What about Vishwa and Dhanur?
Sir, I
Yeah,
have
you have.
the book, but not with me right now.
It's not with
So,
you. Okay. Then I'll just try to share the screen. All right. Vishwa and Dhanur, I'm not sure if you're able to hear everything clearly. If you have any doubt, please do tell me. Okay. Yeah. Can you see this? Hmm.
yes, sir, I
No,
can.
one second. I think wrong screens are opening. Hmm. Yeah, you can see it, right? Yeah. What do you see there?
Sir, there are a few kids on a terrace.
They're looking at
The stars, the night sky.
the stars in the night sky, isn't it? Okay, so there's one kid with a mustache, so it's not really a kid. No, this one looks like a teacher. And there are two kids, and what are they looking at? Pointing something towards the sky. There's a beautiful moon. This is probably Venus. We don't know which, what star is there. And there is also a point below. Can you read that out? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Every champion practices silencing of the mind by offering it to the master of the universe.
Okay, this is an interesting point. We will look at it. And that is where today's lesson is also connected with. So every champion practices silencing of the mind by offering it to the master of the universe. If you have watched the Olympic archery competitions, it requires a lot of concentration. Have you seen that anytime?
Not recently, but I used to look at it.
So you see, they become quiet before they start, isn't it? They have to understand, they have to become one with that whatever, what bow they have, what is the wind which is flowing, the direction, everything, they become silent and inside. It's like a meditation only. So, and then they are able to hit the bullseye because that is important. And every champion practices this. Are they wondering about what medal they are going to get while they are in the action? No, isn't it? Are they thinking, what am I going to eat after going home today? No, you cannot. No. When you think of that, say in your class, you sit with thinking of what you're going to eat. What's going to happen to the lesson that you're listening to? If you're solving maths and you're thinking of pakoras, x plus y is equal to pakoda. That's going to happen, isn't it? So you have to learn to silence your mind and detach from those things, all the other thoughts. So all champions practice that, and that is the lesson. Title of the lesson is Recognizing the Master of the Universe. For today's lessons, the parents of the students were asked to drop their words in the evening time for a 60-minute session where they would be observing the moon and the various constellations visible in the sky. The students were very happy to meet their friends for this fun activity and began talking among themselves about the unique experience they had in this workshop. They unanimously concluded that their teacher was a master and they decided to formally announce their conclusion to their teacher. So all the students said yes. They were having some gossiping was going on. See, so many points he's taken for so many workshops before. So I have no doubt. Yeah, I also don't have any doubt. Like that, all the students were telling, and finally they decided, let's now tell that to our teacher only. Student one says, Sir, we have all started thinking about you as a master and true teacher. The student two, he says, Yes, sir, we know that people in all fields like sports, drama, singing, and all other sciences such as chemistry, physics, astronomy, and many disciplines have been trained by masters of their fields. Student 3 says, Sir, before today's class, we were all discussing about you. The way you have been guiding us is unique and all encompassing. Your teaching is universal, and without focusing on any specific field you are teaching us. How can we become champion students of any and all faculties? So, can we say that you are a teacher and master and we are your disciples? Like the old Guru Shishya Parampara, no? Something like that. The students say that. The teacher says, See, friends, it's your choice to consider me as a teacher or see me as a master. But I consider myself as your friend by choice. I want to keep up this relationship of a friend because there's a freedom in friendship. And this relation makes both of us free from any undue pressures and creates a good atmosphere for learning and teaching. And if the teacher says, No, I believe we are friends. So, in that friends atmosphere, you can learn. Isn't it true? You learn better from your friends. Agreed? Not all
Assuming you
friends.
don't get distracted at all.
Huh?
Assuming you don't get distracted at
As
all.
long as you don't get distracted. But you know, if there's a fear factor, no, but does that fear factor, does it help you learn and grow very much?
I personally think so, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it does for me.
But to some extent, if after a while the fear factor comes in between, isn't it? You'll have to sometime or later get over that fear, no? Otherwise, it's a fear which is blocking your thinking, no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Because I remember my coach was a very strict one. He had military discipline. He would say, run 4 rounds, run 5 rounds before entering into the court. You see his face only would start sweating. And he was so strict. And then when we went to nationals, we saw one team. We were in the same bus. They were from the Northeast. And they were really, really good and some beautiful returns of smash and everything. There was no fear in their movement. And I was like, wow. I just was wondering how did they probably it is the atmosphere they are in. They are in what we can say the atmosphere is a little more rarefied or higher altitude. That is why they have some advantage. I was trying to understand. And suddenly I said, Acha, but who's your teacher? Is what I asked him. Who's your master? Who's your coach? You won't believe he just turned like this and tongue hit somebody's head. I was so shocked. What is it? And that guy looks and he says, Hi, he's our coach. I was so shocked. How can this happen? But you see, there is a different atmosphere. Of course, this is not, we should not take this as an example. We should never be this way. But one thing what I saw was in that, and there's not a requirement of fear as a necessity. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it goes. That's all different. But that should not be the only aspect. And here, that is why the teacher says a friend, because it is free from undue pressures and creates a good atmosphere for learning and teaching. There's one professor, he grew up from Fiji and now he's one of the top 2% scientists in the world in Australia. He's teaching about artificial intelligence. And all of his students and him, they have such a beautiful relation. They all look up to him as a friend. Which I just happened to read the testimonials they had written. They were all like that friendship is there. So this is something we must learn. We must learn to enjoy and in a cordial atmosphere, you can learn and grow also. That is what should be. If you tomorrow become a teacher, you teach something. You are showing, I think you can also try to keep that atmosphere, isn't it? Instead of making somebody afraid to learn. Without that also. So that's what the teachers like to say. The student says, yes, that's why we feel free to ask questions and learn from your friendly answers. The teacher says, yes, this is how we can remain united and at the same time enjoy our personal freedom as well. Student, yes, we are now ready to learn about this universal subject. The teacher says, students, look up. What do you see? We observe the sky is slowly getting darker and the milky white stars are glittering brighter. The atmosphere seems quiet, and as we go on observing this vastness of the sky and glittering stars, we too become silent, isn't it? So, what happens when you look at the sky and quietly, when you don't talk, you're not bothering about what is coming on the next serial that you're going to watch or what some other work or some other discussions. Instead, you just try quietly and start looking at that beautiful sky. What have you felt, Rini? Anytime looking at the sky, the clouds, if you see them move daytime also or in the evening time? What have you felt looking at the
Not really.
sky?
But sometimes I just wonder what would happen if none of this was there. No stars, no clouds, nothing.
Yeah, yeah. It's like we are now inside of a system, no? We are inside of a system with the sky on top and it's moving around. It's something very interesting. But it makes us quiet also, isn't it? I used to, whenever I got irritated, actually, I would look at the sky because I had, in college, especially, I was frustrated with certain things. I didn't know what's going to happen, what's going on in my life, what do I want. But I had read the quote of one quote which was attributed to Buddha. When you realize how perfect everything is, you tilt your head and laugh at the sky. I actually scratched my head when I read it. Okay, but why was he laughing at the sky? Is something wrong? Or what is it? But something, somebody has understood something in that quietude. So that quietude comes to us when we look quietly. That's what the teacher is trying to slowly tell the children. You look, see what happens when you look at all the stars, become silent. I think you can all try. Maybe we have some days, the next 2, 3 days. Sometime, maybe for 5 minutes, just look at the sky. Just look at the sky and maybe write down or what do you think about it afterwards. But that time, nothing else. Just look at the sky for some time. It is only in the calmness that the higher mind can work. Because when you are calm, your mind is ready, ready to receive inspiration, ready to receive good thoughts, ready to receive brilliant ideas also. When? When you are calm. If you're agitated, you're frustrated, you're in a hurry, you're not going to get those beautiful thoughts or right thoughts. Even if you're searching for something, you lose something. Oh, where did I keep my pen? You already are confused and you start searching. It might be in front of you, you'll still run around for half an hour searching for it. Instead, all these times, calm your mind. Go sit down and quietly, okay, I remember now. Oh, yes, it's like recap. I walked around in this room, I kept it here. And then you're able to immediately retrace your step when you go back to your memory. So, something like that, becoming calm is a important principle that we must understand. So, let us meditate on the highest light inside and outside us and pray for greater strength and knowledge. Let us pray that we be bestowed with greater power and wisdom. Yes, actually, we saw no, prayer, importance of prayer, like even a barren land can be transformed by an earnest prayer. And what is that prayer? Is it just some muttering of certain chants only? No, that prayer is a more direct one where you are even using action no, to transform a barren soil, barren land into a fertile land through action, by watering, by adding nutrients, something like that. We can also pray, let me get right thoughts. Let me get good thoughts. Let me try to identify certain aspects in me which can become better. Let me get more strength. Let me become more wise. These are all good prayers to make. The student says, "Yes, this is called connecting to a formless source of energy." Another student says, "But many worship and pray to some or the other forms." Now, when we look at the sky, it doesn't look like a form unless you look at the clouds. Sometimes the clouds look like different things at different points. But otherwise, it is formless, isn't it? So here the student says this is like, I've heard of this. There's some energy everywhere. You have to connect with that energy. Another one says, but what about some people? Some people actually like to pray to particular forms of that energy. The teacher says, very good. You are both right. It depends solely on the individual's perception of the source, the formless or the form. Now the student asks a question, but which is right, sir? Now that is a million-dollar question, isn't it? Which is right? What do you think?
I think that both are right, in my opinion, because
Wonderful. That's a brilliant
yeah,
answer,
like
actually. That
it
is right.
doesn't
That's
matter how you think about it. It's your perspective.
absolutely beautifully said. That is actually the million-dollar answer as well. The teacher says both are right as per the individual's choice. It's up to an individual, isn't it? You can't say, I like this particular dish. I like curd rice, so everybody must have curd rice. Can I force it? I'll become a dictator, isn't it? Then I'll be overthrown for this curd rice regime. I'll have to make a new one. So we can't force anybody. Each of us has a choice. So it is both are right as per the individual's choice. But then the student immediately, sir, then which is the better choice? If you say choice, we need to know which is better. I will always choose what is best. So tell me what is best. The teacher says
Neither,
C. Yeah.
right? Is it
Yes, Rennie?
neither? Like, I don't know. I don't think either one is better. They're like just there and it's all up to us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. But it's a student's question. No, it's not a teacher's answer. It is the student who's trying to, sometimes what they have in mind that comes out immediately. So let's see what the teacher says. The teacher says, see, the truth is, the formless only takes form. So both ways are good for the person. It is as per his or her choice. I think Rennie has already read this lesson or she already knows it from inside. So let's continue. So it is both are right, is what the teacher says. The student says, but results of one's choice also differ, isn't it? Now that student is not leaving this point. He's somewhere in his head, he's still having that one choice is better. The teacher says, see, my friend, what is important is the faith with which you pray and not the object of the prayer, formed or formless. That's why we are here in this quiet place. You can introspect where your devotion lies for the master of the universe or the teachings found in it. It doesn't matter whether your devotion is for a form or formless. The main aspect is your trust with which you are following the truth. The whole nature is there before you, and the deep faith inside you is there to guide you. So there is something inside of us also. We keep getting that guidance quietly. Sometimes we don't know what do I do, what should I do. Suddenly you hear some inner voice, isn't it? It tells us, "Ah, okay, go that side." You sometimes get surprised. Where did that voice come from? Or how did I listen? But on the inside, it was right. No, one doctor had told about her inner voice she had shared. She was an anesthesia resident. She shared her experience. Her inner voice told her to do a test on one particular patient. That test was not according to her teaching. It was not required. All the doctors were struggling to do the diagnosis. The problem is if you don't do the diagnosis, no, treatment cannot be done. What is the problem? Unless you know the problem, you can't solve it. No. So even the senior doctors were struggling. And this young doctor decided, I want to do this test. But normal protocol said this test is not required. She quickly went to the technician and said, please do this test for me. If anything happens, it's on me. I only am requesting you, please do it. You won't believe because of that test, they've got a diagnosis immediately and then they understood how to treat. So all were appreciating her later on for her presence of mind. But see, I just got a thought, so I got an inner voice telling me do this. And I listened to it. That is all. I still don't know why I did it. So these are certain things. So when will you hear that? When will you hear what you want to do really? Only when you are calm. Otherwise, there's always a noise inside. Let's continue. The whole nature is there before you, and the deep faith inside you is there to guide you. The student says, Sir, this is not very clear. Can you share with some example? The teacher says, See, every child has a firm faith in his or her mother. Yes or no? The child may ask something with a deep urge, and the mother fulfills. But sometimes a child pretends and throws tantrums. But the mother is very clever and understands that the child doesn't need it. All the prayers or urges expressed by the child through pleading, requests, crying, or even shouting goes in vain and seems futile. Any moment you can think of where it has happened, your life or in the life of your cousins. Yes, something similar. Tantrums. Yes, it is like I want chocolate, I want this, I want that. So many such tantrums. They're normal. So, but they all go vain because the mother is clever. She is not required to understand. So, why do you think? The simple reason is that the reason for which child is praying is not so important. Hold on. Yes, the reason for which the child is praying is not so important as the sincerity of the urge. The student says, "Yes, I understand the means and the ways followed in praying are not of that much importance. But the original urge and sincerity is what matters. From the inside, if it is sincere, then it is sufficient. If that is not there, we can't cheat anybody all the time, isn't it? We'll get caught easily. We'll understand. Shit, if you're sincere, nothing is there to be worried. You don't have to worry about. The other student says, true sincerity pays. The teacher says, please do not pretend to do, but be. The ways can be many. You can sit or stand in a particular way while praying. There are various physical postures, but do not pose. Be sincere. What is posing?
Just simply doing it but not putting your mind to it.
Yeah, pretending, isn't it? Even models and actors, when they pose, they do it with sincerity, isn't it?
That's
They
different.
pose for the camera because they're doing it sincerely, isn't it? They at least we call it posing, but that is sincere because that is part of their profession. It is something like that. Whenever we do anything, we have to do it with sincerity. Student says, yes, this is understandable. But are there particular timings for prayers or particular places for worship? The teacher says there are no specific timings or places. Prayers can be done at any time, at all times, and all places. One of the students says, for prayers, one must be silent. Sir, I think this is the most difficult thing for me. So it means it is not possible at all. The student says, you have to be silent. I cannot be silent. Many people have that tendency, isn't it? To not sit in one place at all. It's like they have a spring underneath their feet. They cannot sit. I remember when came to my teacher first at 21. He told me, close your eyes and sit in one place, like how we do the meditation before the class for 2 minutes. So I was asked to do a little longer. So I was just like a restless monkey, always scratching my head here, there. He said, no, sit sincerely. Stop doing, looking here, there. Slowly that came in. So at least sincerity was there, it helped. Otherwise, till now, I would not have been able to sit for 2, 3 minutes also. So let's continue. The teacher says, yes. So the student says, I cannot. It does not look like I can ever be silent on the inside. So I'll never be able to do this. But the teacher says, yes, but by practice, you can achieve this normal condition. Today, you find it difficult because your mind is never silent and is only wavering. The student says, sir, how? What are the ways to do so? Because it's a natural thing, no? Mind gets wavering many times. The younger you are, the more wavering it becomes. One thing is there, next, continuously. Then some people get so attached to it, they start getting ADHD only. Immediately, I have to look here, I have to look there. Something like that. The teacher says, see, first of all, you must try to sit quietly, at least in a relaxed physical posture. Let the mind be free as you achieve this quiet physical posture. The quiet sitting will also bring silence in your physical. Many say they can't sit quietly for a minute also. Many times, even for a minute. I remember in the village we had tried taking a meditation class, and both hands are going for scratching, and the person is sitting and can see the person moving around. Another person's hand goes and hits somebody else. Why? Because 1 minute also it is not possible for many to sit quietly. So you'll have to practice. Why do you think really it's important to sit in? Because always we are in a rush, we are in a hurry, we have to do so many things, we have to achieve so many things. But why do you think it's important to probably try and sit quietly for some time, for some moments, for some time?
So if you try to sit quietly for a while, you can find some sort of calm. Like if your mind keeps running around, it can start relaxing a bit, and then you'll feel a bit more refreshed and you can do your work more efficiently and properly.
Yeah, you can organize your things also better, isn't it? You can be like, yes, I have these many things to do today. Then you'll even remember some things that you have to do the next day. So that is why it's important. So first of all, try to sit quietly. Try to sit quietly in a relaxed physical posture. Let the mind be free as you achieve this quiet posture. And this quiet sitting will bring silence in your physical. But the student says, okay, sir, but what about the mind? The teacher says, yes, just remember the stars, these stars, or the quiet sea, or even the trees, and concentrate your thoughts upon them. And slowly the mind shall also be quiet, at least for that time. I have told you before, you must develop a sound mind in a sound body. When you are quiet, your body and mind both shall become quiet after some time. So this is something, this is a very nice experience if you can enjoy that. The teacher says, meditate, think about what? Think about the trees, think about the sea, think about the stars, all of them. Just close your eyes and try to concentrate. That will help you. Do you think this will help only children or it will help everybody?
They can help everybody because it's always
Everybody,
useful to
isn't it?
have a calm mind. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, because I had been talking about keeping quiet, keeping calm, and all of it, and then I felt I got betrayed by a very close friend. Somebody I thought was the best friend has betrayed me. What happened to all the keep calm, remain calm, all those things went out. I was getting irritated. I'm saying, why? What is the logic? I'm not able to understand. There was no need. If as a friend, you could have told this to me. What is this? Why did it happen? You know what was happening because of that? I was not calm on the inside. My breathing also was very with anger. What happens when you get angry? Breath also changes, no? And so this is not right. So what? Maybe I've been cheated by a good friend of mine. But that should not trouble me, no? So I have to become quiet. So then I tried to sit quietly. It took me half an hour to become quiet. I was just sitting in one place. I was that angry on the inside. Because principally, I thought, is a spirit of friendship somebody is breaking. That's not right. I was not able to accept. But because I sat in one place, no, I didn't get angry. I didn't shout at my friend also. I didn't shout or tell, what is this nonsense? I don't care. I don't want to talk. All those things. I could keep them aside for a while. And I figured out it's all right. I can't control somebody else, can I? If I control, that'll be a robot, no? So we don't need robots and more robots. Already enough robots are there. Nowadays we have to try to prove we are human in the computers. You have experienced that, Rennie? Prove you are a human?
Yes, sir. Capture.
Yes, captcha. And if you fail, what happens? You start beginning to doubt,
No, they
isn't
make
it?
you do
Am I
the
a human or
entire
am I a
thing.
robot? Yeah, again they make you do the entire thing. Yes, I had failed so many times I started doubting, am I human? Because I'm failing human tests. So am I not? But yeah, let's come back to the subject. So here, the teacher says, yes, I have told you before, you must develop a sound mind in a sound body. When you are quiet, your body and mind both shall become quiet after some time. And student is very restless. Oh, I find it very difficult to be quiet, sir, especially when I have so many things to do. The teacher says, then at least whatever you do without expectations. When you are studying, helping others, playing, or whatever action that you are doing, do them with no specific desire and see how thoughts are minimized as you focus on the work. This is an interesting principle. When you have a lot of expectation, I'm going to get this, this will lead to this will lead to that, that will lead to this. What happens then? You are lost in your dreams and not connected with the ground. You're lost in your thoughts. Instead, when you don't have expectation, you're more alert, more focused, and doing your work. You do a good artwork, it will turn out to be beautiful only, isn't it? If you are participating in a competition, while you are doing the brushstrokes, should you think gold medal, or I must get first prize? You will not be able to express beauty there. Or you help somebody, and I want something in return. I gave you that day. I helped you. Should we do that every time? Remind a person? No. There was one friend of mine. He gave me just when I wanted very much. He gave me one T-shirt, but he has not forgotten that. He keeps, I gave you that. Every time I meet him, he tries to remind me that he had given me the T-shirt. I think when he turns 90 also, his teeth will fall out and he'll still say, that day I gave to you. But what happens when you always have expectations? You are going to be disturbed. Disturbed while doing. As a student, what should you do? You have an aspiration to learn, you have an aspiration to grow. All of those things are right. Become better, do all of it. But don't just like, I do this so I get this, I do this so I get this. Then you don't get it, it creates a big frustration, disturbance. So stay calm, stay focused. Because, my friend, a close friend of mine, he completed his engineering, then went to another country. Why did he go there? He said, because I'll get more money if I do this course. What was the course? He said, well, that's not you do higher studies to learn, no? He said, no, but this is I'm going to get a big package. Unfortunately, in his 2-year program, the second year, by the time he was graduating, the market fluctuated. That course, which was supposedly the most valuable one, ceased to be. Then he did one more course, which is again valuable. That also didn't give him his results. So he ran after another thing. What is happening because of that? The person is just running around things without getting clarity. So let's continue. So your thoughts are minimized when you do, and your focus remains on work when you're having no desires. The student says, okay, sir, I do understand now. Whenever we do something, we must not expect any reward for it and have no desire before, during, and afterwards. This way, we simply become detached from these desires and expectations. This itself brings in a natural quietude and satisfaction. The teacher says, yes, my boy, actually, life is simple. We make it difficult with unwanted desires, hates, and cravings. Every champion practices silencing of mind, either by exercise for body and mind or by offering it to the master of the universe or remembering the source and offering at every moment, at least by self discipline, along with right mental attitude, RMA, as explained earlier. But if they follow this, then they can live happily in all good and so called bad times by leading with example and passing on this knowledge from generation to generation. It will bring delight in their lives. This is a delight that is beyond pleasure and pain. So that's what the teacher is saying, something called RMA, right mental attitude. So if we look at the points to remember for today's session, number one, be serious, be sincere, not serious. So we don't have to be serious. You can enjoy, you can be jovial, you can actually what we can say, have a good time. But remember, sincerity is important. It is sincerity that pays. So don't ever pretend to be sincere. Always be sincere. Do not pretend. Detached actions bring quietude in oneself. Life is simple. Desires, hate, and lust make it complicated. So with this, we are ready to conclude today's session. Yes, Reni, Dhanur, and Vishwa. Today I didn't see your screen at all throughout the session. Were you listening? Dhanur and Vishwa. No. All right. Yes, Reni, any points you want to recollect from today's session? After which we'll conclude. Some points which we can say take home points. Yes, Reni?
Sorry, sir, like Zoom wasn't responding for me. I would like to
Okay.
say that you can always achieve a calm mind by sitting relaxed or not focusing on one thing.
Okay, by sitting quietly and just not moving around for some time, just trying to become quiet and thinking about maybe nature, plants, or the sea or the sky, some beautiful scenery that you have visited. I would always think when during my board exams, I remember I didn't get a time at all to go out. I would always remember green grass. I'm going to just think of green grass. And then after my exams, I actually went and slept nicely on green grass. That was one big thing that I wanted, but it helped me calm. So that's one more point. Anything else, Rennie? Would you like to add? Otherwise, we can conclude today's session.
Oh, yeah, sorry, sir. I want to add another point is that we shouldn't pretend to
Yeah,
be sincere and
please.
we must always be like actually sincere.
Not because somebody is watching or somebody is going to give us something. That's pretending. Yes, yes, that's a good point. Absolutely. So with this, I think we can close our eyes for 2 minutes. Nicely. We can think of maybe the sea or something, the sky. All right, one, two, three. Okay, before opening your eyes, let's arrange the. All right then. Okay, so we'll see you again next week on Monday. All right. Okay then. Bye bye.
So, bye, sir.
Bye bye. Any questions? Anything you wish to say?
No,